Kids, to help you get started on your homework, what I'm going to do is give you a couple example problems, and you will complete those problems, and then we will go over them to make sure you understand how to solve them. Alright, our first problem that I'd like you to solve will be the expression of n times 8 and 62 hundredths. The value of n is 8. N equals 8. So I'm going to pause the video. You go ahead and solve that problem. Okay, here we go. Here's the answer. Of course, all you have to do is multiply, and you're going to take n multiply times the 8 and 62 hundredths. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 6, we've got to recoup our 1 there. 8 times 6 is 48, plus 1 gives you 49. Regroup the 4, and 8 times 8 is 64, plus the 4 gives us 68. Now remember, our decimal point has to come out 2 places, so it has to come in 2 places, and our answer is 68 and 96 hundredths. Okay, let's try another one. Try this one. X divided by 3.2, or 3 2/10, for the value of x is 28 and 8/10. So I'll pause the video and you go ahead and solve that problem. Alright, and here we go. Set this up like a regular division problem. We have x is our dividend, so we have 28 and 8/10 going on the inside, and we have 3 2/10 as our divisor on the outside. Remember, we have to move our decimal point over 1 place to make a whole number, and we're actually multiplying by 10, which means we move it over there as well. So now we can move our decimal point straight up into the quotient area, and we're good to go. Now all we have to do is our division. Well, in this case, you can see that 32 cannot go into 2, it cannot go into 28, but it can go into 288, and it will go in a total of 9 times. 9 times 2 is 18, carry the 1. 9 times 3 is 27, plus the 1 gives us 28, and this decimal will terminate. Okay, let's try another one. We'll make it a little bit more complicated this time. We'll add in a couple operations, so you'll need to watch the order of operations. We have 2 and 94 hundredths plus h, the variable, divided by 4. And the value of h equals 21 and 6/10. So I'll pause the video while you solve that expression. Okay, here we go. Well, we want to do first multiplication or division, which would be h divided by 4. So what we will do is we will take the value of h, which is 21 and 6/10, and we will divide it by 4. There's no decimal in the divisor, so we ask ourselves, how many times will 4 go into 2? Can't do it. Into 21, it will go a total of 5 times. 5 times 4 equals 20. Subtract, and you have partial remainder of 1. Now our decimal point needs to go up now. Bring down our 6. 4 into 16 will go 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. Subtracting, you have a terminating decimal. That's the first step. Now the second step is to do the addition. And we have to take 2 and 94 hundredths, and we're going to subtract 5 and 4 tenths. Notice how I had to line up my decimal points because it's adding of decimals. So now we can simply add up our numbers, and we get 4. 9 plus 4 is 13. Carry down your decimal point, regroup, and you get a total of 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 5 is 8. Very good. All right, let's try another example problem. Let's try this one. This will be a little bit more complicated. We'll throw in parentheses. 5r plus r divided by 3. Now in this case, you can see where we're going to use the variable more than once, and we have several operations going on. R has a value of 5.1, or 5 1/10. So I'll pause the video and you do the problem. Here comes our answer. Okay, now our first step in this process, is to look for parentheses and exponents, and we do have parentheses. We have r divided by 3, so we're going to take the value of r, which is 5 1/10, and divide it by 3. 3 will go into 5 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. Subtracting, you end up with 2. Bring down your 1. Now we want to make sure when we put our decimal point up into our quotient, before we go any further, 3 into 21 will go 7 times. 7 times 3 is 21, and we have a terminating amount. So now the second thing that we do is we look up for any multiplication or division, and we do have multiplication, 5r. We have a coefficient of 5. So now our second thing to do is to take 5 times r. So the value of r is 5.1, and we're going to multiply it by 5. So we do 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Our decimal point has to come out one place value, so it has to go in one place value. So we have the answer of 25 and 5/10. Now our third and final step will be to add 25 and 5/10 from our multiplication to our quotient from the division and get our final answer. And remember, we are lining up our decimal points. 5 plus 7 is 12. Put down our decimal point, regroup. 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Bring down our 2 because there's nothing to add. And our final answer is going to be 27 and 2/10. Okay, and let's try one more example problem. Let's try this problem. 12 and 5/10 minus g to the second power. The value of g equals 2 and 5/10. So go ahead and solve that problem. I'll pause the video. Okay, here we go. Let's check out our answer. Now this again is a two-step problem. We look for parentheses, there are none. We look for exponents, and we do have some exponents. We have g to the second power, so we're going to take, our first step will be 2 and 5/10 to the second power, which would be 2 and 5/10 times itself. 5 times 5 is 25, carry your 2. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Remember, we have to put our marker 0 there, and we don't do anything with our decimal point till we're done. Now we multiply. 2 times 5 is 10. Regroup. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. We have all of our partial products, so we add now. 5 plus 0 is 5. 2 plus 0 is 2. 1 plus 5 is 6. Our decimal point has to come out one place value up above, then one place value in the second factor. Add those, we get 2. Bring it in 2 places. There we go. Okay, that will do it for now. Hopefully that will get you started on your homework.